I welcome you all for this final level indirect tax lectures. And as you would have been informed, so this CA final IDT lectures, see not just CA final, so these are IDT final level lectures, and this batch is going to be relevant for those students who are appearing for the CA final examination. At the same time, the same lectures are going to become applicable even for the CMA final examination as well. Okay, so in one shot you are preparing for both. See, there might be differences when it comes to a few things I would like to sort out before I proceed further. So I want to remove some misconceptions and all. See, whatever we are learning, especially as a part of our income tax, as a part of our GST, there we are basically learning what law we are learning. Act. Basically, we are discussing some act. Act is going to remain uniform no matter as a part of which course you are learning that subject. Whenever we are supposed to discuss an act will remain same. So anybody reads the same act. So whatever things we are going to teach now, so we are making you equipped for CMA final examination as well as CA final examination. Okay, then I will talk about the scope of the syllabus and all. But before I go any further, let me first introduce myself, because it becomes very necessary for you to become aware who is that person sitting in front of you, and who's this face is which you are supposed to see over the coming 1.5 month or so. You have to watch this face, you have to look at this face. So it is very much better if we could become familiar with each other. So a brief intro about myself. So this is Mahamood Shaik. I'm a chartered accountant and I'm also a cost and management accountant. I qualified my CA final examination somewhere around 2017, and a few months ago, that means even before I qualify my CA final, I have also qualified my CMA final examinations. And if you are aware of me, well, if you are watching, if you are getting over my content on social media platforms and all, you will become aware of me. If not, so it will be a good opportunity for you to know who I am. And I'm an all India ranker. I hold an all India 17th rank as a part of CA Inter, and also I hold all India 7th rank as a part of the CMA final. Okay, so that speaks about the level of command I have over the subjects, and that will that should give you a conclusion the level of command which I will be having over the subjects whatever I am dealing with, right? And after my qualification, I have been into industry as well. I worked with some MNC companies. I worked with Cognizant for a few months, for a close to an year, I guess. Thereafter, I worked with Infosys, where I worked with their core finance department for a span of around 2 years of time. And from the last 6 years, I have been into practice. I have been engaged into practice. Along with the practice, from the last 6 to 7 years, I have also been teaching the students of CA and CMA. So this is what I have been doing with my life till now. So many more to see in the future as well. So this is a brief introduction about myself. Now, coming back to this lectures, there are a few instructions, a few things which I would like you to become aware, which I would suggest you to follow in order to make our class experience even much better. A few instructions I'm going to share it with you, which I expect you guys to follow. Okay, which I'm expecting from you all. Right. So what are that? Number one, the classes are going to be completely in English. You would have been already informed about this. So I don't use any other regional language. I can't teach in other language. Not that I will not teach, I can't teach. Because from the beginning of my teaching career, I have been accustomed to teaching completely in English. So the lectures are going to be completely in English. Don't get worried. Very simple, very plain English, which you guys can feel very comfortable. I'm not going to showcase before you my advanced communication skills and all. So I'm going to keep it as simple and as straightforward as it is. Okay, are you able to understand now whatever I'm saying? Yes, if you are able to understand, if you are able to interpret what I'm trying to say in this last few minutes, don't worry, remaining entire session from day one till last day, my communication is going to go with the same flow, same things, we same decorum we are going to maintain till the last day of the session. So the classes are going to be completely in English. Then, sir, when this batch will become applicable for which students, sir? As you all are aware, one of the main concern which people will have regarding taxation is amendments. Every now and then, whenever the government feels it necessary, they will bring notification. Whenever GST council meeting happens, they will bring circulars. Very soon we are going to have a budget meeting, and whenever the budget comes, many people will be seeing with their mouths open what will be there in that budget. There will be amendments as a part of GST, amendments as a part of taxation as well. So the main thing which will create worry in the minds of the students, especially with regard to the paper of taxation, papers of taxation. When I say papers of taxation, I'm talking about both income tax as well as indirect taxes. So this batch is applicable for whom? I will say, since if you are a student appearing for CMA final examination, this batch will become applicable in case if you are going to give your attempt for June 2026, or if you are going to give your attempt for December 2026, you are all covered here. See, this June 2026 along with the amendments I'm going to cover as a part of the session. If you are going to appear, if you are going to give your exam for June 2026 CMA final examination, so you are all covered. All the notifications, all the circulars, all the amendments, everything has been covered for you. In case if you are going to give your exam for December 2026, that we will in case if any amendments comes, if any extra circulars, if any extra notification comes, that will be made available to you over and through our YouTube and other platforms. We will bring them before you. You need not worry about it. So if this class is taken up by the CA final student, those guys you are appearing for the CA final examination, and if you are going to give your attempt either for May 2026, or if you are going to give your attempt for September 2026, or if the CA final student is going to give the attempt for Jan 2027, sorry, then also this batch will become applicable for you. So when it comes to May 2026 attempt, we have covered all the amendments in this class itself. For September 2026, whatever extra circulars, notifications and all will come, that will be brought before you. If you are going to go for Jan 2027, then little more amendments will be there, that also will be brought before you. So whatever it is, you are a CA final or CMA final student going to give your examination after starting from May 2026 or June 2026, this batch is going to become applicable for you, and you're all covered here, right? And in case if you are not going to give the immediate attempt, 1 or 2 more attempts you are waiting, you have still time left. As I have told, if any amendments comes, definitely there will be some amendments, because we are dealing with such a paper which is very dynamic in nature, which is going to evolve on a continuous basis. So definitely I will say there will not be any amendments. There will be amendments, but there will not be much which should create a panic in you. So the amendments are going to be very simple, which will be brought before you, right? So you are all going to get covered here. Then coming to the expectations, what I have from you. Number one, I need your active participation in the class. We can make much out of this class if this class could be a two-way interaction, two-way communication. So if I am a faculty, if I am teaching you the subject, if I am continuously shouting, if I am continuously speaking without any response from your side, class will happen. I'm not saying class will not happen, class will happen. But if the class has to be more engaging, if you want to derive the maximum benefit out of it, you should be participating in the session. That is the number one requirement I have it from you. So please do participate. The more you participate, the better we are going to learn the things. So when I say participate, my way of taking up the concept is going to be in such a manner. I will explain you with the help of examples. When I teach, after I have completed the example, when I go to the material, I will keep on asking you the questions. So what we will do here, what we will do here. But whatever question I am asking, that I would have already covered as a part of the example. So at that point of time, I need your response from you. Okay, so that is point number one. Your active participation is very much required. Point number two, second point is, see, throughout this class, whenever I am taking up the class, I will be making use of the running notes. I will be writing so much of content. I'm going to write it here. Many things I'm going to write. So many examples I'm going to draw. I'm going to show you show before you my artistic skills as well. Okay, so I'm going to do all that. Sir, are we also required to maintain? Are we also required to write the things whatever you are writing? I will say not mandatory, but my humble advice will be if you could do it, it will be better. Along with me, if you could also scribble down a few things, whatever I'm writing it. And if you feel something as important, if you feel some example is very relevant for your understanding, my request will be try to write it along with me. So why I say this is because that keeps your interest in the class, that keeps you engaged in the class, that will avoid you from getting distracted. So that's why my humble request, if not everything, whatever, see, you are not some journalist, you are not taking my interview where every word which is coming out of coming out of my mouth should be there in your book. It is not something like that. So I will be writing so many things, I will be writing so many examples. Whatever examples you feel it as relevant, whatever summaries I write, that if you feel it as relevant, you better write it along with me. But don't worry, I will share all these running notes. This running notes also will get provided to you. Whatever I am writing, that will also be made available for you. But if you could also put some effort from your side, that will keep you engaged in the class. So my request will be, if you have brought a separate dedicated notebook for this indirect taxes, well and good. Today itself, if you have brought it, nice. If you have not yet got it, tomorrow at least when you come for the class, please bring one dedicated notebook. Once again, I'm telling dedicated, not that front side GST, back side income tax. No, please spend some money, invest some money. So bring one dedicated notebook for the class. Okay. Number two, you have to carry your calculator. I hope you all will definitely do it without fail, because we have to deal with the problems and all. We have to solve the things. We have to answer the questions. So that's why please do bring your calculator as well. And yeah, that's all guys. That is what the instruction, that is what my simple expectations from you. I don't have much expectations from you, very simple expectations from you, to make our life simple, to make our classes very, very simple. Okay, right. And the main orientation, the main approach of how I take up the classes is, I am going to focus completely on the conceptual clarity. I'm going to focus completely on what? Conceptual clarity. You have to master the concept, because concept is only going to save you. Nothing else will save you apart from the concept. Only concept is going to save you. So I am ready to give you that all the conceptual clarity required. Every provision I will try to incorporate the concept in your brain. Not just I am reading out the provision and I am making you memorize, because that is not going to help you out. If at all that thing has helped you out as a part of your inter, the same thing is not going to help you out as a part of your final. Why? Because if you open the study materials and if you see at the beginning, you will find something called expectations. What are the learning outcomes? They will give you, even if you open the CMA study material or CA final study material, you will find the learning outcomes. There they don't expect only from you to understand. They want you to understand and also do the application. Whatever you have learned, that needs to be applied. So if you have an expectation, sir, we are going to have are we going to have direct questions in our exam? Definitely not. That stage is gone, where they will ask you direct question, write about this provision, write about this thing. Gone. Those days are gone now. So at the final level, it's going to be completely application based questions, scenario based questions we are going to experience. And if you want to answer the scenario based questions, if you want to answer that practical oriented questions without the conceptual clarity, you are going to go nowhere. So conceptual clarity is going to be the top priority, and I am ready here to share with you that. You also come with the intention to learn the concept. And also, why I say these taxation papers are very, very important is, these are not the papers just which will make you pass in the examinations. These are the papers which will create your livelihood. Yes or no? These are the papers from which we are going to make a living after our qualification. So when you come for not just this subject, I will tell you every subject. Today, our profession, either CA or CMA, our finance profession has changed, because the world has become very competitive. The AI has taken up every field in our industry, and in this highly competitive environment, in this AI environment, if we want to survive, we have to explore new areas. We can make each of our subject into a practice. we can go and do our job in each of the different subject. So traditional practice is gone, traditional industry is gone, doing audits, doing taxation, doing only financial compliances. No, this is not where the people are making money. The bulk of money is lying in the consultancy. So you can make a career out of each different subject. You can make a career out of each single chapter in a subject. I'm not telling even the entire subject also. You can make a career out of one concept in a subject. You can stick to one single concept and you can master it, and rest of the life that one single concept that can make you money. So I know a few chartered accountants, I know a few advocates where they do only assessment, where they will do only offenses. That means not regular written filing. So as you all might be aware, once we qualify, go into the industry, we provide different kinds of services. Sir, what services we provide? You might say, sir, we can do written filing. I'm talking from the practice perspective and all. So sir, we can go and file the returns, we can do the tax audits, we can do GST audits. So these kind of things will pop up into your mind. But no guys, that is not how today the industry is working. So what some chartered accountants are doing is, they are mastering only in appeals. They are mastering only in offenses. They will take up the offenses. That means a chartered accountant will step in. There are a few chartered accountants, few advocates who will step in only when their client has got the notice. Only those cases which are cognizable offenses. Once again, I am telling you, all this I will teach you in the subsequent part of the discussion. There are something called cognizable offenses, non-cognizable offenses. There are few advocates, chartered accountants who are dealing only in the cognizable offenses. Only cognizable offenses they will do. And for each client, they will charge lakhs and crores. So there are a few people who are mastering only in audit. In GST, there are a few people who are only concentrating on imports. Only imports related assistance they will give, and from that they are going to make the money. So like that, today the potential has become so huge that you can make your complete career out of one single concept. And taxation, either GST or income tax, taxation is such a paper which you should learn, not just with the intention of qualifying the exam. This subject you should learn to make a career out of it, to make a living out of it, to make money out of it. See, ultimate objective is what? We are putting all the effort, giving the exam, sometimes multiple attempts. Why we are putting all this effort? We are not doing it for time pass. We are not doing it for charity. So our ultimate objective is to make money out of it, to make a living out of it. So these are such subjects which will make your journey much easier, which will take you closer to your goal much easier. So come with that intention that we are going to learn the things in a practical manner. I am going to tell you numerous case scenarios, case laws I am going to tell you, practicalities I am going to tell you. I am going to teach you the things in a practical manner. Sometimes we will go and visit the GST common portal, see the things there. So I will try to bring the things as practical as I could. At the same time, I will not deviate from the examination requirements, because okay, getting the things practically known is one thing, but our immediate objective is to get qualified in the examination. So in that practicality, in that getting stuck in the practice, some people what they will do, they will take you very practically, but they will lose the focus on the examination. But I'm not going to be like that. I will give you practical orientation wherever required, but our immediate objective is going to be qualifying in the examination. That thing always I will try to keep in mind. Okay, then. Now, few more things I would like to talk about it here. So, materials. What about the materials? So since this being the first day, so since you have come to the face-to-face session, tomorrow I will bring the books for you. I will distribute it for you. So, but let me tell you what are all the resources I'm going to give it for you. Number one, first thing, you are going to have the concept notes. You're going to have concept notes where it will contain only the conceptual discussion, and these concept notes are drafted completely in line with the study material. So we have taken all the care to make sure that nothing from the study material has been missed out. We have taken all the care. Sir, even after going through your concept notes, still are we required to go through the study materials? I will say not required. If you so insist, even if you can go and have a look also, you will not find any new point. Everything we will get you covered. So this concept notes, you are going to get it in 2 modules. How many modules, my dear students? 2 modules you are going to get it. So module 1 of this indirect taxes concept notes, which will contain the GST part, goods and service tax part. Whereas module 2 of the concept notes is going to contain the discussion regarding customs and FTP. Module 2 is going to contain the discussion regarding customs and FTP. So like that, this is module 1. So this module 1 I will make it available in a few days. Module 2 also I will make it available, and along with that you are also going to get the question bank. You're also going to get the question bank as well. And as you could see here, this concept notes, you are going to get the colored version. As you could see here, this is going to be completely colored version. We have put, from the last few months, we have put so much of effort into this book. When we actually start going through it, you will realize that so much of effort has gone into it. So we have made sure that every information is crisp here, but at the same time we have to make sure that nothing has been missed out. That is a very bigger challenge. We have to make the material as concise as possible, but at the same time we have to make sure that no point is getting missed out. So in that perspective, multiple levels of verification has happened. Me and my team, it's not just effort of myself. So me and my team, I have a team which has worked on this material, so who are CA final students and all. So I have taken the help of that team, and we worked for the last few months, and we have crafted this material for you. So 2 modules of the concept notes, that too colored version of the concept notes, and the question bank also we are going to give it for you. And these materials are so comprehensive. In the question bank also, numerous questions which will contain questions from your study materials, which will contain MTP questions, which will contain RTP questions. So everything, all we have included in that question bank. That question bank also will be made available for you. So it will take a few days of time, because the recent versions, the recent question paper related things, are recent exams and RTPs, MTPs, we have to update it. So that's why it's going to take some time, but within a few days we will make that question bank also available for you. So this is what the deliverables from our side. So this is what regarding the materials. Now talking about question paper patterns. So talking about question paper patterns, which is going to be the most important thing here. So be it CA final, be it CMA final, the question paper pattern is going to remain uniform. So what is that uniformity is? We are going to have MCQs. We are going to have what? MCQ kind of questions. So this should bring the smile on your face. MCQs we have. So MCQs are definitely going to be an advantage. And in both CA final and CMA final, we are going to have 30 marks of MCQs. How many marks we have, my dear students? 30 marks. So having MCQs is definitely a very big advantage for us. There is no such advantage other than having this MCQs. But this will be a blessing. Having MCQs is a blessing, but that blessing will be survived only when you have good conceptual clarity. If you don't have conceptual clarity, if you don't understand the concepts in a correct way, that blessing will become a curse for you. That blessing is going to become a curse for you. Why? Because if you take descriptive, the remaining 70 marks is going to be descriptive. Okay, so 70 marks is going to be descriptive. The problem with the MCQ is there is only one option, either correct, incorrect. There is nothing in between. So partly correct answer, few marks, like that we don't have an option. In descriptive, at least we have an option. In descriptive, even if you are unable to write the entire answer in a perfect way, but at least if you are able to connect a few dots, if a question has been tested for 5 marks, if you are not going to get the 5 marks also, you still will get a few marks. Let us say, for example, you have written half of the answer correct. So still you can expect some 2 to 3 marks. That advantage we have in the descriptive, but in the MCQ, only 2 options, either correct, incorrect. There is nothing somewhat in between. So that's why, yes, having an MCQ is a blessing, but that blessing will be in your advantage only when you have a good conceptual clarity. If you have a good conceptual clarity, I'm telling you, at the worst case scenario also, easily from these 30 marks, 20 marks will not go anywhere, provided you have a good conceptual clarity. Okay, and coming to other kind of segregation here, sir, weightage. Sir, what about the weightage? So as you might have already seen, mainly as a part of indirect taxes, we are going to deal with 2 broader concepts. One is a GST, other one is customs and FTP. Other one is customs and FTP. So GST as a part of CA final is going to constitute for 80 marks. How many? 80 marks. Whereas customs and FTP is going to constitute only for 20 marks. But at the CMA final, there is a little change here. GST is going to constitute for 70 marks. How many? 70. Whereas customs and FTP is going to constitute for how many marks? 30 marks. So we have 30 marks of weightage for customs and FTP. So little bit of change in the weightage. But if I have to tell you in a simple terms, a level of expectation from you, when it comes to GST, you should have a very advanced level of understanding. But in case of customs and MTPs, they will try to ask you basic questions only. They will not go much deeper. So no such in-depth testing which will happen as a part of customs and FTP. Somewhat comparatively, if you have understanding of the customs and FTP, it will be enough. No much in-depth conceptual knowledge will be tested. Very rarely they will do it. And the nature of this indirect tax paper itself is, if you even compare with the past attempts also, IDT paper will be moderate. Always it will be moderate. There will be nothing like IDT paper has become extremely difficult, we are unable to answer. No, you will not hear that kind of remarks. IDT paper will be mostly what? Easy, or it will be moderate paper. So this should immediately bring a thought in your mind, sir, since this being a moderate paper, this is such a paper where it is easy for you to score the exemption and get the aggregate. This is one such paper as a part of your group which you can target for aggregate. Why? Because here there is a huge potential for scoring the exemption. 60 plus marks you can easily score it, provided I'm there to assist for you. If you take the assistance from me in a proper manner, so getting 60 plus and trying to target this subject for aggregate, for scoring the aggregate in the group is very easier. Okay, so this is what going to be the question paper pattern. And if I have to show you the questions, so at the CA final level you will have MCQs, 30 marks MCQs you will have. But at the CA final level they will ask you case scenario based MCQs. They will not ask you direct MCQs. First they will give you one case scenario, a few pages of case scenario they will give. From that case scenario they will ask the questions. For 2 marks each MCQ will be. This is for CA final. But for CMA final, we are not yet seeing case scenario based equations. People are saying that they might come in the future, but currently CMA final is they are only asking you direct questions. Direct MCQs they will ask. As you could see, 15 MCQs will be there. Each one carries 2 marks. 30 marks will be there for CMA final. But as you could see, there are no case scenario based MCQs. There are what? Direct MCQs. But if you are preparing for the CA final also, there they will not ask you direct MCQs. Direct MCQs will be very minimal. Minimum 10 MCQs will be case scenario based MCQs. Okay, so that is what regarding MCQs. Then comes descriptive question. So when it comes to descriptive question at the CA final level, the descriptive questions are something like this. Question number 1 of the descriptive question will be compulsory. Each question will carry 14 marks. How many? 14 marks each question will carry. So question number 1 is going to be a comprehensive question which will carry 14 marks, and this question will be and it will be a compulsory question, and this question will not be from a single chapter. These questions are going to be from a combination of chapters where they will test you the concept from the multiple chapters like value of supply, place of supply. So multiple things they will try to integrate it and ask one comprehensive question. So along with that you will be given 5 more questions. Out of that you will be required to answer only 4. So I'm talking from the CFNL perspective. Question number 1 is mandatory, 14 marks, compulsory question. Apart from that, how many more questions will be given? 5 more questions will be given. Out of that, 4 you are required to answer. And in each question you will contain subparts. Like as if I show you here. So this is question number 1, which is going to be a compulsory question. So after that, as you could see, in each question you will be able to find the sub questions 2A, 2B, 2C, and like this in each question you will be able to find the sub questions. So in this case 5 plus 5 plus 4, 14 marks. In some cases you will find 6, 4, 4. There might be a cases where they can ask you only 2 sub questions in each of the question carrying 7 marks, 14 each. So whatever it is, 5 descriptive questions will be given. Out of that we will be required to answer only 4. Whereas when it comes to CMA final, so what they will do here is, here directly they will give 7 questions. Out of that 7 we are required to answer only 5. 2 choice. So if you see it here, right, so as you could see, answer any 5 questions out of 7 questions. Question number 1 is compulsory, that thing is not here. So they will give you directly total 7 descriptive questions they will give. Out of that 7 descriptive questions you will be required to answer only how many? 5 you will be required to answer. So here also you will be able to find sub questions. In each question you will be able to find sub questions, like in some cases 7 7 or 5 5 4, 6 4 4. So like that in different combinations they will ask you the questions. So here you have a little bit more choice. When it comes to choosing of the concepts, here you have a little bit advantage when it comes to the CMA final. So but whatever it is, when it comes to the proportion of MCQs and descriptive questions, this is what the proportion. MCQs will carry 30 marks and descriptive is going to carry the 70 marks. Okay, right. So this is what regarding question paper pattern, my dear students. Now a few more things I would like to bring it to your attention. After that we will go into the concept. See, today, this being the first day, will not go much into the, I will just give you overall approach towards the subject, and we'll go into some basic discussion. Today also will not have full-fledged session. We'll take some 2 hours or 2.5 hours of session, and we'll try to slowly increase the timings and all. So till this Saturday, we'll take some 2 hours or 3 hours, something like that. Everyday session we'll do. From Monday onwards, we'll go at a full stretch, because it will take some time to make you accustomed to the teaching and all. So we'll take the things slowly. Now, one more common fear you will have, sir, if you look at the index here, just I am showing you GST index here. So if you see the index here, you will be able to find something called introduction to GST. Then you have something called supply under GST, charge of GST, registration, exemption, time of supply, value of supply. Are all these chapters getting familiar? Do you feel familiar about it? Looks like somewhere we have read this, no? Where we have read it? CA Inter or CMA Inter. As a part of your Inter, you have read all this. Not all this, majority. As you could see here, if I'm not wrong, till here, like introduction to GST is something which you are aware of. Supply under GST you have learnt. Charge of GST you have learnt. Registration, exemption, time of supply, value of supply, tax invoice, accounts and records, ITC, payment of the taxes, place of supply, returns, e-commerce transactions also we have learnt, integrated into different chapters. Then, so till here it should look familiar. Thereafter, you have imports and exports, refund, job work, assessment and audit. These are all something which you have to learn afresh. But till here, all these topics are looking similar, no? Which whatever we have learned it as a part of our CA Inter or CMA Inter. Sir, is the same syllabus is going to get repeated as a part of the CA final or CMA final? Yes. Same content is going to get repeated, but little bit at an advanced level. As a part of our inter level, we have ignored a few things from these topics also. Now here we are going to revisit those concepts whatever we have learned it as a part of our inter level. Not just that, even we are going to learn the advanced concepts as a part of these chapters. So now you all will get a doubt, sir, you are saying that these topics are something which have been taken from the inter level. Will you not teach them once again now? Will you not teach them once again? No, I will teach you, my dear students. So even if you have somehow by chance, if you have qualified your inter examinations, even without preparation, sometimes luck favors us so good that we don't expect those kind of outcomes. So just imagine as if you have not prepared for CA Inter. With that notion, I will try to explain. If you are able to understand it, things will get registered quickly in your brain. If you did not understand at the CA Inter level, now this is one more opportunity for you to make your concepts clear, to make your foundation very strong here. So don't worry about it. Even if your basics are not good at the CA Inter level, we will touch on the basics also. So you will get comfortable, that I can assure you from my side. Okay, right. So you need not worry about it. So all the things will be taken care of. Now, along with that, here I have given the customs related index also. So here you will be able to find something regarding introduction to customs, levy and exemptions, types of duties, classification, valuation, importation, warehousing, refund, FTP and all. If you are a CMA Inter student, you might have become familiar with these things also. If you concepts you might have learned it as a part of your CA Inter. CA Inter you will not have learned it. As a part of CMA Inter you would have learned it. But don't worry, here once again we are going to start afresh regarding the customs. So all these things are given as per these topics are going to remain common for CA Inter and CMA Inter students. But for CMA final students, we have one more concept here, duty drawback. Duty drawback is one such chapter where you might not be able to find it as a part of CA final level. That will be there only for CMA final students, that I will cover separately. That I will teach you. I'm not saying I'm not going to ignore you. That chapter I will give you separately. Apart from that, rest of all the things are going to remain common for both of you. Duty drawback, one extra concept will be there that I will teach you separately for CMA final students only. Okay. So this is what regarding overall structure, how we are going to take up the things further. Clear? Able to understand till now whatever I spoke? Are you able to follow? Am I understandable? Am I making the things complex or easy? Easy? Is my communication flow, the pace at which we are going, is it all comfortable for you? Yes. Okay. So having said that, so this is what regarding a brief intro about the overall subject. I have given you introduction about the overall subject. So with this background, we will go into the conceptual understanding now. Clear? Right. Yeah, welcome back everybody. So since we all have become familiar with the subject, we did not understand any technical aspects and all, just we have become familiar what is the subject about, what actually it is dealing about, what is going to be the question paper pattern, and what are the expectations from us, what will be the learning outcomes from us. So this is what a simple overview of the subject we had. Now we will go into the conceptual discussion. So as I've told, two broader concepts we are supposed to cover. One is the GST and the other one is going to be customs and FTP. First we are going to concentrate on what? GST. So first we will be mainly focusing on GST. First we will try to complete all the provisions associated with the GST. Once we are done with the GST, then we will go to the customs and FTP related provisions. This is where we are going to spend significant amount of our time. Okay, right. So having said that, let us go into the discussion now. So once again, as I've told, I'm going to ask you the questions. What you are supposed to do? What you are supposed to do? Respond. Show some happy faces. Why are you all so lazy early in the morning? Huh? You're all feeling sleepy? No, right? Okay. So show that enthusiasm to me so that I also feel energized by looking at you. Fine. So GST. What is the full form, my dear students? Goods and Services Tax. So before I go into the topic, I would like to ask you a few questions. Okay. Okay. So how many of you have come here by using your public transport? Have you come here to the class? Are you attending the class by using the public transport? No. You came on your own? Okay. Fine. Did you use any of these e-commerce platforms? Rapido, the most common thing today, right? So you used Rapido. Fine. How many of you had a dinner outside in the last week? Just raise your hands. Dinner, lunch, breakfast, whatever it is. How many of you had it outside, not at your home? Okay, very good. How many of you woke up today, just immediately after waking up, you opened your Instagram, you opened your YouTube or some social media platform, or you just had a look at your phone? How many of you have done it? Very good, excellent, nice, fine. So the intention of asking all these questions is, the moment we woke up till the time we go to sleep on everyday basis, throughout our daily life, without our knowledge, without feeling the pinch, we have paid GST. Without our knowledge, without even feeling the pinch of it, we all have paid the GST. GST is an inevitable system. GST is not a tax, I will say. GST is a system. And it is such a system which is inevitable. Inevitable means what? Unavoidable. Whether by our willingness or not, no one is bothered. So we are all being made a part of this system called GST. So GST is not a tax. I will say GST is a system in which we are all part of it, even without our knowledge, even without feeling the pinch of it, and even without our consent. No one has taken the consent from us saying that, hey, you are required to pay the GST. Did anybody ask your consent? No. So without our notice, without our intention, without our consent, we have become part of this inevitable system, which we all getting used to it as a part of our day-to-day life. And when we are learning this GST as a part of our lectures, we are not learning system, we are not learning the tax, we are learning the entire system, which we are all part of it. So this is a very good system, but somewhere there are some deficiencies in the execution. We will talk about the problems of all of it in the subsequent session. Just we have scratched the surface now. So just I want you to realize the fact that we are all part of this GST system, whether we like it or not. So GST is a kind of tax. Do you all agree with that or not? It is a kind of tax. First of all, what is the meaning of the tax? What is the meaning of the tax? I will give you two simple options to choose from. Tax, is it a mandatory payment or voluntary payment? Is it a mandatory payment or voluntary payment? Mandatory payment. Tax is something which will be forcefully collected from you. Tax is something which is mandatory. You can't say, I will make the money, I will do turnover, but I will not pay the tax. You can't say that. You can't say, it is my money. If I am willing, I will pay. If I am not willing, I will not pay you the tax. Will the government agree to it? No. So tax is something which is a mandatory payment. It is a non-voluntary payment. No one is coming and asking your permission to take the tax from you. It is something which is forcefully imposed on you. So tax is a non-voluntary payment which is collected forcefully from you even without your consent. Then, okay sir, who is paying the tax? We citizens of the country are paying the tax. To whom we are paying the tax? To the government we are paying the tax. Now why do government need money? First of all, what are the functions of the government? Okay, let us not talk about functions, what they are doing. Let us talk about what they are supposed to do. Okay, because what is expected from them but what they are doing is completely a different thing. So let us talk from the expectation point of view. So what are the expected responsibilities of the government? They have to take care of the people's safety. So they have to provide safety for the citizens of the country. They have to build the infrastructure, be it construction of the roads you take, telecommunication, access to the basic facilities and all. So people's health, people's sanitation facilities, conservancy, water provision and all. Police department, they have to manage national security, defense, army, navy. So they have to protect the territory of India. So like this, the government is having multiple functions to do. But to do all that functions, government needs revenue, because no one will be able to do anything without the usage of the money. Even the government also, if they want to fulfill all these activities, whatever I have told it before you, which they are supposed to fulfill, for all that they are going to need the money. Sir, where do they get the revenue from? One significant source of revenue for the government is none other than taxes. Taxes is the main source of revenue for the government, through which they are going to generate the revenue, and that revenue they are supposed to spend it for the welfare of citizens, for the development of infrastructure, for safety of people, for health of the people, for education of the citizens of this country, which will not happen generally, which will be the last priority anyhow. But this is what they are supposed to do. For doing all that activities, government need money. So one of the primary source, the main source of revenue is going to be in the form of taxes. Apart from tax, government is also going to make other revenues, like they also run the commercial activities like business organizations. Like we have government companies, we have through that government companies like ONGC, Indian Oil Corporation. These are all government owned companies which explore the natural resources, sell it, make the money out of it. So they engage in some commercial activities also, but still primary source of revenue for the government is in the form of taxes. Now, I can say the taxes in our country, not just in our country, you go to any country in this world, taxes can be broadly divided into two categories. What are the two broad categories of the taxes? One is direct taxes, other one is indirect taxes. Guys, we have actually stepped into the introduction to the GST chapter. This chapter, they will not ask a question from the examination. You will not find a question from this chapter. But in this chapter, I am going to tell you a few fundamental things. Something which I have already learned it, but I'm going to make you revisit some fundamental things regarding GST, which will lay the foundation structure for the entire subject. Even though the question will not be asked from here, the things which we will recollect here are going to be damn important. So please listen with complete attention. So there are two kinds of taxation. What are the two kinds of taxation, my dear students? Direct tax and indirect tax. So what is the meaning of direct taxes? Those taxes where incidence and burden can be shifted or cannot be shifted. Cannot be shifted, where burden cannot be shifted on to the another person. The person, whoever is paying the tax, the same person is going to bear the heat of the taxes. That means you can't shift the burden. If I am the person paying the tax and I am paying it from my own pocket, I am not able to pass the incidence or burden to someone else. Those taxes we call them as direct taxes. Any example of the direct tax? Income tax we have today. So today, if you are let us say you are a salaried employee, you are getting a salary of 1 lakh rupees per month. Now you become liable to pay income tax. Now you are supposed to pay from your own salary, from your own pocket, that such certain calculated figure as tax to the government. This is something which you can't pass it on to others. On the other hand, indirect taxes are those taxes in which the person whoever is paying the tax will be different, and the person whoever is bearing the burden of the taxes is going to be different. So if incidence of tax can be passed on to another person, that tax we are going to call it as what? Indirect taxes. So tell me a big example of indirect tax we have today. GST. Like let us say, for example, you went out during the break for having a breakfast. So you went to a hotel, and let us say for example you went to some big hotel, AC hotel, you have gone and you went there and ate the breakfast. Let us say for example you went to the hotel and you ordered for one dosa, some 50 rupees of dosa. He will give you small bill, 50 rupees of dosa. On that, let us say for example 5% GST has charged 2.5 rupees. 52.5 rupees the hotel person will collect it from you. Now after collecting 52.5 rupees from you, will he keep the entire money in his counter? Okay, out of that 50 he can retain. Remaining 2.5, what he has to do? He has to pay it to the government. Why? Because 50 rupees is only the consideration for dosa. The 2.5 rupees is the consideration for GST. So now who will pay that GST to the government? Hotel. But is he paying from his own pocket? He is collecting from you. Being a customer, you are bearing the heat of the taxes. You are giving that 2.5 rupees from your own pocket, and that money he is just passing on to the government. So here this GST is an indirect tax. Why? Because the person whoever is paying the tax, he is not bearing the heat of the taxes, whereas it is passed on to another person. Now this hotel person, after doing the business for the entire year, let us say for example he made some decent turnover, 2 crores worth of turnover he has made. On that he will deduct all his expenses. He calculated profit. Let us say his profit came to 20 lakh rupees. Now on that he has calculated the income tax figure. Let us say his income tax amount came to 2 lakh rupees. Now this income tax will be paid by this hotel owner to the government. Now this 2 lakh rupees is a direct tax. Why? Because this you are giving it from your own pocket. Whatever money that you have made from running the business throughout the year, from that money you are going to pay it from your own pocket. So here that's why income tax will become the direct tax, GST will become indirect tax. And one more point of difference, if I have to say here, direct taxes are something which will be imposed on incomes, net incomes or profits. On what direct taxes will be imposed? On net incomes or on profits. That means after you have made all your revenue, after you have deducted all your expenses, if any excess profit has been left out, on that the government will impose direct taxes. But whereas indirect taxes are those taxes which will be imposed on your turnover. The moment you have done the turnover, it will be enough. The moment you have sold something, you have provided the service, you collected the money, indirect taxes you are required to pay. The government will not wait to see whether you have made the profit, whether you have made the losses. All that is irrelevant. Indirect taxes will be imposed on turnover, whereas direct taxes will be imposed on incomes or profits. One more differentiating factor between the direct taxes and indirect taxes is direct taxes are something which are progressive in nature. What in nature? Progressive in nature. Whereas indirect taxes are something which are what? Regressive in nature. Taxes is something like regressive in nature. So that means every person has to pay the equal amount of tax. So income tax is progressive in nature. When you make more income, more money. Whereas indirect taxes, irrespective of your income status, you will be required to pay the same amount of money. Let us say for example one fine day Ambani got hungry. He was feeling extreme hunger. He went to a local store, Ambani, the so-called biggest conglomerate owner of India. So he went to some local store. Let us say, just for example, Ambani will not go to the local store and buy anything. Just example I am saying. So let us say for example he went to a local store and purchased a biscuit packet. How much GST he will pay? Let us say for example on that 10 rupees, 2 rupees is the GST. So if Ambani buys a biscuit packet, he will pay 2 rupees of GST. Right? If I can go and buy the same biscuit packet, then also the same 2 rupees of GST. Let us say for example if a beggar has become hungry, he has collected money from the people, he went to the shopkeeper and bought the same biscuit packet of 10 rupees, same 2 rupees of GST he will be required to pay. So here income of the person doesn't have any bearing on payment of indirect taxes. That's why I call it as what? Regressive in nature. Everybody will be required to pay the equal amount of tax. Everybody, like I have told beggar. Today when I buy a diaper for my daughter also, I will be liable to pay the GST. The moment she has come out of her mother's womb, any kid, from the moment you have come out of the mother's womb till the time you go to your deathbed, on every stage you will be paying the amount of GST. Right? So that is what one more point of difference here. So whatever it is, two kinds of taxation. More about the direct tax in India. Today we have the major direct tax, which we have something which is income tax. Apart from that, we have local authority level taxes, like we pay municipal tax, water tax we pay. No, those are also something which we can call them as broadly under direct taxes only. Whereas when it comes to indirect taxes, today we have two major indirect taxes. One is GST and the other one is customs we have. We will talk more about the customs later. So whatever it is, we understood what is the meaning of the tax and what are the two different kinds of taxation. Direct taxes, anything you will, anyhow you will learn more about it as a part of your income tax paper. Now our main agenda is to concentrate on GST. Sir, what is GST? How the term GST has been defined? They have defined GST as GST is a tax on what? On supply of goods or services. I will tell you simple meaning. I'm not going into the technical things and all. We will try to inject the things slowly in your brain. So how the term tax has been defined? Tell me, my dear students, how the term GST has been defined? GST is a tax on what? Supply of goods or services. So they have told it in a straight away manner. GST is a tax which is going to get imposed on goods, or which is going to get imposed on services, or if you are making a supply of both, also both put together, then also GST will be imposed. So let us say, for example, I'm a shopkeeper. Let us say I'm a person who is into business of selling FMCG products like surf, shampoo, soaps. I have one kirana store. So if I'm a person, I'm into FMCG business. So that means I will be making supply of what? Goods. Now GST will be imposed on supply of goods. Let us say I'm a chartered accountant. If I'm a chartered accountant, I don't have any tangible product. I'm not dealing with any goods. So I will be engaged in providing what? Services. If the client comes to me, wants to file his return, wants to get his audit done, wants to maintain his accounts. So I will be providing services. Whenever I provide the services, what kind of tax will be imposed? GST will be imposed. Sometimes I might provide both. Let us take my example only, classes example. So what I am doing, I am making supply of the goods as well as services. I am teaching you, which is service. Books also I am providing. So it is a what? Supply of both, where I am making supply of goods as well as services. Then which tax will get imposed? GST will get imposed. So GST is a kind of tax which will be imposed on what? It will be imposed on goods, services, or both. Sir, what do you mean by goods? Goods definition, we will try to talk about it in a detailed manner when we take up the supply chapter. But if I have to tell you in simple terms, what is the meaning of the term goods? Something which is movable. This pencil is a good. This laptop is a good. This camera is a good. This iPad is a good. Vehicle is a good. Plant and machinery is a good. Something which is movable. So, or there should be services. So one of the precondition when the government will come and impose GST is, first there must be goods, or there must be services, or there must be both. But just having the goods, just having the services, or having both alone itself will not trigger the government to come and impose a GST. Just having the goods, having the services, or having the both will not trigger the government to come and impose GST. Let us say, for example, I am a furniture store owner. I am a what? Furniture store owner. I opened a shop. In my shop, I have filled these kind of chairs. I am into business of selling these chairs. So I opened a shop. In my shop, I have placed some 1,000 chairs ready, stock. I have filled my entire warehouse with the stock, and I am into business of selling the goods. See, just because I have 1,000 chairs, 1,000 goods in my store, department will not come and impose GST. Just having the goods alone will not trigger the government to come and impose GST. So when the government will be triggered to impose the GST? Supply, some activity should have taken place regarding that goods. So let us say if a customer comes to my shop and he likes 2 chairs, and if I have sold him 2 chairs, on that 2 chairs which have been supplied, then only government will come and impose the GST. So just having goods alone will not be enough. What should be required? Supply of goods is required. Or let us say I'm a chartered accountant. I qualified my chartered accountancy. I got my certificate of practice. I rented out a premises. Outside the premises, I have kept a board. So and so associates, chartered accountants, we offer all kind of audit services. I opened my office and I am equipped. I am ready to provide the services. Just because I am ready to provide the services, will the government come and impose a GST? No. Once again, what should happen? Supply of services should happen. What should happen? Supply. Just if I open the office, government will not come and impose GST. If I open the office, if a client walks into my office, if I provide some service to them, then the government will come and impose a GST. Or let us say lectures point of view. I have recorded all my lectures. I have taken the printout of all the books, but I haven't sold it to anybody. Will the government come and impose GST? No. If I sold that lectures and books to the student, when actual transaction takes place, when supply takes place, then the government will be triggered to come and impose a GST. Clear? So essential prerequisite for the government to come and impose GST is goods, services, or both. But having the goods, services, or ability to provide the services alone will not be enough. Some transaction should have taken place, which we call it as what? Supply. Only when the supply takes place, then only government will come and impose GST. Sir, but what is this supply? You are saying supply. What is this supply, sir? Hold on. Just hold your horses. We have just started. There is so much of journey to go. In the subsequent chapter, we'll get to know what is the meaning of the term supply. Okay, but for the time being, now what did it teach you? In order to impose a GST, either goods or services or both must be there. But having it is not essential. What should have taken place? Supply should have taken place. And what is the meaning of that supply and all? We will try to learn it in the subsequent chapters. Clear? Everyone comfortable till here? Right. So now one thing should come and strike your mind. Sir, you told that whenever goods are supplied, whenever services are provided, or whenever both are getting provided, there should be a tax called GST. See, on our daily basis, we will be engaging in different kind of transactions. But as per the definition, whenever supply of goods, services, or both have taken place, we must have paid GST, no? See, if we buy any goods, if we receive any services, or if we receive goods and services, someone has supplied it to us. That means we should have paid the GST on that, no? But if you observe your day-to-day life, sometimes you will not do. Let us say you went to a fruit vendor. Today after the class, you are leaving for your home, and on the way you found some fruit vendor. There are some fresh apples on their cart. You wanted to buy some fruits from that apple vendor. So you paid some 100 rupees and you got some half a dozen of apples. Is he collecting GST from you? Is he giving the bill, collecting the GST from you? If you go to the supermarket, with the same intention of buying once again fruits only, you wanted to buy apples, you went to Reliance Fresh store is there, you went to that store and you purchased some, you paid the same 100 rupees, got some half a dozen of apples. Reliance person will give you bill, but if you look at that bill, you will not be able to find GST there. You will not be able to find GST. That means what I am saying here is, if you are going and buying the fruits and vegetables, no matter wherever you are purchasing, whether you buy it from the street vendor or you go to the supermarket and purchase it, they will not collect GST from you. If you go and buy the eggs, let us say you are going and buying the eggs either from the corner of your store, a store is there at the corner of your street, from there you are buying, or you go to the supermarket and you buy the eggs. If you look at the bills, if at all they give, you will not be able to find the GST. If you go and buy the milk, you will not be able to find the GST. If you want kids to be educated in the school, if you go and enroll them in the school where the education institution is providing the services, supply of services is happening, but still they will give you invoice, on that you will not be able to find the GST. Sir, why, sir? You told the GST will be triggered the moment when supply of goods or services or both is happening. In the examples whatever I have gave you today, is a supply of goods or services is happening? Yes, but GST is not getting collected. Why, sir? Why? Because keeping in mind the essential nature of goods or services, there are some goods or services which are very much essential for the livelihood of the people. Like I have told, fruits and vegetables, eggs, milk, meat, or essential services like education. These are all essential for the livelihood of the people. If the government starts imposing on all these activities, then what will happen is livelihood will become very difficult. It will become very costly. So that's why government will have one power called exemption. What is that, my dear students? Exemption. So the government will release a notification. They will identify those kind of goods or services or both which are very much essential or in the common interest of the society at large. They will notify the goods, they will notify the services, or they will notify such combinations on which there will not be collected amount called GST, even though it is falling in the definition of supply of goods or services or both. Sir, what are that goods or services or both which will be exempted? We have a dedicated chapter which we will talk about it. We will have a dedicated chapter which we will talk about it. In the exemptions chapter, we will talk about it. Here I gave you a few examples like eggs, vegetables, education. Like that, we have a notification. In that notification, they have identified various such goods and services which are very much essential for the livelihood of the people. And what are that exemptions that we will see. Then let me tell you one more scenario. Let us say, for example, you need a haircut. You need a haircut. So haircut, or you need grooming. So let us say, for example, you went to a saloon. You went to a saloon at the end of your street. You went to a barber. There was one small barber who is having a small shop at the end of your street. You went to that barber and he gave you the haircut. He gave you haircut. So now this barber, is he providing services? Is he providing services? Yes, let us say, for example, he charged from you some 100 rupees. Now, is he collecting GST from you? Is he collecting GST from you? No, he will not collect. See, you might have visited so many times, no, the barber at the end of your street. So every time you go and get a service from him, is he giving you invoice? Is he charging you GST from you? No. Now, let us say, for example, you are the same person, you have grown your hair, you need to have a haircut, now you need some makeover. So what you have done is you went to some very big saloon brand, let us say for example Tony and Guy. So you went to a Tony and Guy store and you got your hair dressing, you got your makeover done. See, these are all different names. Ultimately he will do haircut only, but different names, no, they will say hair makeover, hair dressing, something like that they will say, but ultimately he will do something called haircut only. So you went to a Tony and Guy store and you got a haircut. Now he is charging from you 500 rupees. Will he collect also GST from you? Yes. Will he collect GST from you? Yes, he will collect. So if you look at the invoice, if you go to this premium salon stores and all, he will give you invoice. Let us say on that 500 rupees, along with that he will also collect, let us say 10% of GST, 50 rupees he will collect. Why? Because he is a supply of service. Now you should get a doubt here. Sir, same kind of service. See, grooming is not very essential. Grooming is not very essential. If it is very essential, it would have been exempted. But grooming as a service is not exempted. But if you pay close attention here, at one place, I am getting the same service, but the supplier is not collecting any GST from me. I am getting the same kind of service at some other place, but there the supplier is collecting the GST from me. Sir, what you are able to make out from this? What you are able to make out from this? So the point which I want you to conclude here is, yes, GST is a tax which is imposed on supply of goods or services, but the tax is not required to be collected by everybody. But the tax is not required to be collected by everybody. Why? Because in India, our Indian economy runs mainly on the basis of small businesses. Small businesses, many people will be there who will make very limited amount of turnovers. Now if the government starts imposing GST on every such a small vendor, ease of business will not be there. It becomes very difficult for the people to run the business, because it will not just be enough to ask the person to collect the GST. He will be required to maintain records, will be required to file the returns, he will be required to issue documents. Multiple compliances are there. So if the governments start asking each and every small business person also to comply with the GST law, doing business itself will become very difficult. People will stop doing the business. So the point which I want to conclude here is, yes, GST is a tax on supply of goods or services or both, but that tax will be collected only when the person making the supply is a taxable person. Only when the person making the supply is a what? taxable person. Sir, what do you mean by this taxable person? Simply, if I have to put it, a registered person, I will say. So government has gave you one criteria. See, dear businessman, if you are doing business, if you are making supply of goods or services or both, yes, you are required to collect the GST, but we will not make you liable from day one itself. We will wait for you to become little bigger. Sir, how the government will identify, sir, whether the business has become bigger or not? On the basis of turnover. So the government has given some turnover criteria. If you are a business person and if you are doing the business within that turnover limit, you will be identified as a small business person. You will be treated as non-taxable person. And if you are still making supply of goods or services or both, you will not be required to collect any GST. That's why your street barber is not collecting any amount of GST on you. Not because grooming service is exempted. No, grooming service is taxable. But why he is not collecting GST from you is because his turnover is within that limit. He is not a taxable person. Sir, but when a person will become taxable, that is when he is liable for registration. When he is not liable for registration, for that we have a dedicated chapter called registration. There we will try to know more about it. Clear? So what did I tell you till now? I have told you what is the meaning of the tax. Two kinds of taxation. What is the meaning of GST? So GST is a tax on supply of goods or services or both. So we have understood what is the simple meaning of the goods or services and essential activity that supply should have taken place. And not all goods or services will be liable to GST, keeping in mind the need of the people, the need of the hour, the requirements of the citizens of the country. Government will give exemptions, and not every person is required to collect the amount of GST. A turnover based criteria has been given to identify big businessmen and small businessmen, and that concept we call it as taxable person, which we are going to learn more about in the registration chapter. Clear? Till here everybody comfortable? Right. So this is what regarding a few fundamental things. Let us try to advance further. Let us try to go further. Okay, right. So in India, we have one of the major indirect taxation system. What is that major indirect taxation system? We have something called GST, a tax which is on supply of goods or services, which we all are paying it as a part of our day-to-day life. Now, this GST system in India, is having three characteristics. There are three important characteristics of GST mechanism in India. So what is that? What are that three important characteristics of GST in India? Number one, GST is such a kind of tax where tax is required to be borne always by final consumer. Number one characteristics of the GST. What is number one characteristics of GST? GST is always required to be borne by final consumer, because it is indirect tax. No. So what did I say regarding indirect tax? The person whoever pays the tax, he will not bear the heat of the taxes. Burden will be shifted. So number one characteristics of the GST system in India, it has to be made sure that GST is always borne by final consumer. Number two, GST is a value added tax. GST is a tax only on value addition. Value added tax. Next, the third characteristics of GST system in India is we have a dual GST system. What system we have? Dual GST system we have. Come on, repeat everybody. Three essential characteristics, very important. These fundamental things, if you are strong on this fundamental things, we can build any kind of advanced concepts. These are the roots of the GST. So three essential characteristics of GST system in India. Repeat everyone. What are those three essential characteristics? Number one, tax is borne by final consumer. Whoever is the final consumer, or if I have to put it in other words, whoever is the end user. Who? End user. So end user is required to bear the heat of the taxes. Always burden will be borne by the end user or final consumer. Number two, the second characteristic, what is that? Value added tax. Number three, it is in India we have what kind of GST system? We have a dual GST system in India. So let us concentrate on the first characteristic. What is that? Tax is borne by final consumer. So let us say you are that final consumer. So you are that final consumer. So you went to a shopkeeper and you purchased some goods. So there is a shopkeeper, there is one retail store is there. You need some FMCG products and all. So you went to a retail store and let us say for example you needed a what you needed, let us say I needed this iPad. Okay, so I went to a retail store where this iPad is getting sold. I paid some 50,000 rupees and the supplier told, sir, 50,000 rupees is the price of this iPad. On that, let us say 10% is the rate of GST, 5,000 rupees is the GST. So now he will give you invoice in which he will charge you 55,000. So now you are the end consumer. You are buying it for your own usage, for your classes you are going to use it. So now as a customer, as an end user, how much you will pay? 55,000 you are required to pay. How much you are required to pay? 55,000 you will pay. Now as I have told, out of this supplier and few more terminology which you have to get accustomed to. In GST always we use two terms. One is supplier. Other one is what? Recipient. So who is supplier? Whoever is supplying that goods or providing the services or both, that person will always be called as supplier. Whoever is receiving the goods, whoever is receiving the services, or whoever is receiving the both, that person we call him as recipient. So as a recipient, you are paying 55,000 rupees. Out of that, this supplier will pay 5,000 rupees to the government. 50,000 he can enjoy with that money. 5,000 will be required to be paid by government. So government got the GST. Who paid the GST? Who paid the GST? This supplier has paid the GST. But who borne the heat of the, who has borne that heat of the GST? Who is facing the burden? This recipient is facing the burden. Why? Because agreed supplier is paying that 5,000 to the government, but he is not paying that 5,000 rupees from his own pocket. He is just acting as a channel. He is just acting as a mediator. So he is collecting that 5,000 rupees from the recipient and he is paying the government. He is paying it to the supplier. Supplier is just acting as a mediator, as a channel, and ultimately amount is going to the government. So tell me, is the first characteristic fulfilled? What is the first characteristics of GST system in India? Tax is required to be borne by ultimate consumer. Tell me here, who has borne the ultimate burden of the taxes? Recipient. So ultimate end consumer, whoever is the end consumer, whoever is the final consumer, he will bear the heat of the taxes. But as an end user, before a product reaches you, there is one entire supply chain which will happen. Goods have to go through multiple people before they reach the hands of the recipient, end user. Let us say for example, today I am the end user. I am the end user who purchased this product. But before this end product reaches me, it passes through hands of multiple people. There is an entire transaction chain, supply chain will be there. So what is that supply chain? If I have to put it in very simple terms, since you are a commerce student, you are well aware of it. First, this product is going to start at manufacturer. So what the manufacturer will do? He will procure all the raw materials and he will start manufacturing that product. Now from the manufacturer, the product is going to go to whom? Wholesaler. The product will go to wholesaler or distributor, whatever you call it. Now from the wholesaler, the product is going to retailer, to the retail stores. Today whatever we go there, so the product is going to come to retailer. Now from the retailer, the product is ultimately going to come to the end consumers like you and me. Now this is what I was saying. Before a product or service reaches end consumer, the product has to go through multiple phases. Different transaction chains will be there. But throughout this transaction chain, what is the first characteristic of GST system? Tax has to be borne by final consumer. Yes, the goods will go through multiple transactions, but it has to be made sure that the tax is borne. The burden of tax is on whom? Is on final consumer. Let us see how this will work out. Let us say for example, the manufacturer has used all the raw materials and from the scratch he has created an iPad. That iPad, let us say for example, he is selling it to wholesaler at 1 lakh rupees. At what price? 1 lakh rupees he has sold it. Now goods are there, supply of goods is happening. Should GST be imposed here or not? Yes, it is also not exempted. Manufacturer is a very big person. So let us say applicable rate of GST is 10%. There is no such a rate as 10%. For simplicity in calculation, I am doing it. So now what manufacturer will do? He will charge a GST at the rate of 10%. Let us say 10,000 rupees of GST he has charged. So total he will give an invoice charging 1,10,000 rupees. So now you tell me wholesaler will pay how much amount to manufacturer? 1,10,000 rupees he will pay. Now what manufacturer will do? Tell me guys, can he enjoy with that full money? No. What he should do? 1 lakh he can keep it in his cash box. The balance 10,000 rupees which he has collected in the name of the GST, that will go to whom? Government. So who is the payer of the GST? Come on, your active participation is very much required here. Who is the payer of the GST here? Manufacturer is paying the GST. But who is bearing that heat of the taxes? Who is, on whom the burden is there? Wholesaler. On the wholesaler burden is there. But is wholesaler final consumer? Is wholesaler final consumer? No. But what did I say? First characteristics of GST, it should always be made sure of what? The burden has to be borne by ultimate consumer. Here who is bearing the heat of the taxes? Wholesaler is bearing the heat of the taxes. Is he the final consumer? No. Now this person will cry or not? Wholesaler will cry or not? So he has paid 10,000 rupees of GST. Now he will go to the government and complain or not? Sir, manufacturer has collected 10,000 rupees of GST from me, but I am not the final consumer. You told that one of the main characteristic, one of the essential feature of the GST is a tax is required to be borne by final consumer. But here wholesaler is not a final consumer. Will he go and complain to the government or not? Yes, government will say, yes boss, you are correct. Yes, you are correct. So we will do one thing. Since you are not the final consumer, no, whatever GST that you have paid to the manufacturer, which we have actually collected it from the manufacturer. Since you are not the final consumer, we will do one thing. We will open a wallet in your name. I'm putting it in very simple terms, my dear students. In very layman terms, I am keeping it before you. We will open a wallet in your name. Like we have PhonePe wallet, Paytm wallet, we have no. So like that, we will open a wallet in your name. And that wallet in GST terminology, we call it as electronic what? Credit ledger. A wallet will be opened. So to that account, what they will say, we will do one thing, boss. Whatever 10,000 rupees you have given, no, that we will credit it. That we will add it in your wallet. That you can use it for discharging your output tax liabilities, for discharging your payment of taxes. Able to understand everybody? Clarity you will get it, but just here I want you to understand that wholesaler has paid the tax to the government, but wholesaler is not the final consumer. He will raise a complaint before the government. Boss, you collected GST from me, but I am not the final consumer. Please give me back my GST. Government will consider, yes, this is a valid request. Let us do one thing. Whatever amount of GST that you have paid to me, that I will give it to you as a credit in your electronic credit ledger, something like a wallet. In your wallet, money has been added because you are not a final consumer. So now, wholesaler, why he has purchased that iPad? To make a further supply, to make further sale. So now you tell me, what is the cost for the wholesaler? Come on guys. He paid total 1,10,000, but what will be the cost to the wholesaler? What will be the cost? Will it be 1 lakh or 1,10,000? The cost is going to be 1 lakh rupees only. Why? Because you tell me he paid 1,10,000. No. But how come cost is only 1 lakh? 10,000 you are getting it back as credit. No. 10,000 government has given back credit to you. So that's why the cost for the wholesaler is how much? 1 lakh. On that he will add profit margin or not? Let us say for example, he added profit margin at the rate of 20%. So how much it will come to? 1,20,000. So he sold that iPad, whatever he has purchased, and added that margin. Total he sold it at 1,20,000 to the retailer. Once again, goods are there, supply is happening. GST should be imposed or not? Yes. On that, let us say he is also imposing GST at the rate of 10%, which will come to how much? 12,000 rupees. Total he will give the invoice for 1,32,000 to whom? To the retailer. Now retailer, how much he will pay to the wholesaler? Come on, how much he will pay? So he will pay 1,32,000. Out of that, wholesaler can enjoy with the money of 1,20,000. The remaining 12,000 rupees, whatever he has collected, that he has to discharge it with the department. So this we will call it as something like output tax liability, we call it. He has made an output supply of 1,20,000 on which he is having a liability to pay to the government amounting to how much? 12,000. So he is having a output tax liability of 12,000. But you are not required to pay entire 12,000 now, because the previous GST whatever you have paid when you made that purchase from the manufacturer, the government has already credited, no? The government already credited some money to your wallet, no? You think like a businessman. Let us say, for example, you want to place one online order. Item is costing you some 15,000 rupees. But in your Amazon wallet already 10,000 rupees is there. You will not unnecessarily pay once again 15,000, no? What you will do? Adjust that 10,000 rupees and excess payment, whatever you are required to make the payment, that only you will pay it now. Common sense or not? So here also what this person will do? Okay, I have a output tax liability of 12,000. But I have a credit on my inputs. Input. One more terminology, I am introducing it for you. So input. On that I have paid a tax. What is the input here? As a wholesaler, I purchased an iPad. On that I have paid a tax, which government has credited to my ledger. I will take the credit of it. That I call it as input tax credit. What do I call it? Input tax credit I call it. So this I will adjust it. Balance how much wholesaler will pay? 2,000 rupees only will go to the government. From whom? From the wholesaler. Now once again, same problem. Retailer will cry or not? Why? How much GST has paid? 12,000 rupees. Government has also got it. Now he will cry or not? Why? Because what is the first characteristic? Tax is required to be borne by ultimate consumer. Here he is a retailer. I did not buy it for my own use. I want to make a further supply. So what the government will say once again? Yes boss, you are not a ultimate consumer. We will do one thing. Whatever GST that you have paid, that we will give it to you as a input tax credit. So now you tell me how much ITC retailer will have. How much he has paid? 12,000. Okay. So now for retailer, he purchased the iPad. No. What is the cost of that iPad for him? Total he paid 1,32,000. But what will be the cost for him? 1,20,000 rupees only. Why not that extra 20,000? Because that he has already called it as a credit. That 12,000 will not become part of his cost. Now he will make a supply. No. So now he will add profit margin or not? Definitely he will add the profit margin. Let us say for example profit margin at the rate of 20% profit margin he has added. So that will come to how much? 24,000 rupees. Total selling price will be how much? 1,44,000. Once again goods supply is happening. GST should be imposed or not? Yes. Let us say GST at the rate of 10%, which is coming to 14,400. Total invoice will be given for 1,58,400. Now this end consumer, what he will do? How much he will pay? 1,58,400. Out of that, this retailer can enjoy with 1,44,000. Balance 14,400. We will call it as what? Output tax liability. So he is having output tax liability amounting to how much? 14,400. But the government has already given him 12,000 rupees of credit, which he will adjust it. The balance 2,400 rupees only he will pay to government. Okay. Now what about the final consumer? Final consumer, ultimately how much amount of GST he has paid? Tell me guys. 14,400 rupees of GST. Can he also go and cry before the government? No, boss. Why? You are the final consumer. You have to pay it. You can't go and cry before the government. Now here the principle is getting fulfilled. What is the first principle of the GST? GST has to be borne by final consumer. But if you pay close attention here, in between whoever is involved, retailer, wholesaler, these people did not bear any heat of the taxes. How I will show you is, let us say for example, here in this case, government got total how much amount of GST? Government got total how much amount of GST? 10,000 rupees from manufacturer, 2,000 rupees from wholesaler, 2,400 rupees from retailer. Total how much government has got? 14,400. And how much the final consumer has paid? 14,400. So whatever amount of GST that the government has got here, that entire amount of GST has been borne by the final consumer. Ultimately, the money has gone from his pocket. And in order to make sure that this principle will be applied in reality, this can be made possible. The first principle, the tax burden is required to be passed on to the final consumer. This principle will be made practicable only with a concept called input tax credit. Able to understand? So if there is no concept called input tax credit, then first principle itself will get violated. So the entire mechanism in GST, which is making sure that tax burden is required to be borne by ultimate consumer, the only concept is, what is that only system which is making that possible? Input tax credit. Understood? Sir, what is this input tax credit? How we can use it? When a person will become eligible? When a person will not become eligible? We have altogether a dedicated chapter, input tax credit. There we will try to learn more about it. Understood? So first point, first characteristics of GST. Tell me guys, what is the first characteristics of GST? GST is such a tax where tax is borne by ultimate consumer. Fulfilled? Yes. So this will be made possible with the help of concept called input tax credit. Second characteristics of GST system in India. What is that second characteristic? It is a value added tax. It is a what kind of tax? It is a value added tax. That means GST will be imposed only when there is a value addition. Some kind of value addition should be created. If there is no value addition, there is no GST. I will try to explain the same concept with the help of the same example. So what is that example is? Let us say for example, manufacturer has procured various raw materials. From that raw materials, he created from the scratch an iPad. So what value addition he has made? Out of everything, out of scratch, he created an iPad amounting to 1 lakh rupees. So what is the value addition created by the manufacturer? Total 1 lakh worth of value addition he has made. From scratch, he has created a iPad. So total value addition, how much he has made? 1 lakh is the value addition he has made. So on that 1 lakh rupees, 10,000 rupees manufacturer has paid the amount of GST. Now this wholesaler, he purchased that product of 1 lakh rupees and he sold at 1 lakh 20,000 rupees. He converted the product of 1 lakh to 1 lakh 20,000. So tell me what value addition has been done by wholesaler? How much value addition he has done? 20,000. And if you pay close attention here, if you take, we have taken the rate of GST as 10%, no? So he created value addition of 20,000 rupees. On that, if you multiply GST rate at the rate of 10%, total will come to 2,000. If you pay close attention here, from wholesaler, only 2,000 rupees of GST has gone, right? On the other hand, retailer has purchased a product of 1 lakh 20,000 and he converted into a product of 1 lakh 44,000. How much value addition retailer has done? 24,000 rupees of value addition retailer has done. On that, if you multiply the GST rate, 2,400 rupees. If you pay close attention here, from the retailer, only 2,400 rupees of GST has gone to the government. So if you imagine the transaction chain something like this, let us say for example, from the manufacturer, wholesaler has purchased a product. Let us say 1 lakh rupees of product he has purchased, 10,000 rupees of GST. So manufacturer has paid 10,000 rupees of GST to the government. That has been given as input tax credit to the wholesaler. Okay. Now this wholesaler, in order to improve his sales, let us say for example, in order to become more noticeable, this wholesaler is selling the product at cost. He's giving discounts, huge amount of discounts he's giving. He wants to penetrate the market. So what he is doing is he's doing cost to cost. So what is his cost? Let us say for example, his cost here is how much? 1 lakh rupee. Let us say he did not add any margin. At the same price, he is selling it to retailer. Let us say he's selling it at the same price. That means to the retailer, he's selling it at the same price. So this itself is going to be the selling price. On that, once again, he will collect a GST. Total will come to how much? 1 lakh 10,000. Now, what is his output tax liability? 10,000. What is his input tax credit? 10,000. Will he pay any extra amount of GST? 0. And if you pay close attention here value addition is also 0. Here value addition is also 0. Why? Because he purchased a product of 1 lakh rupees and creating that product into 1 lakh rupees only. He's not making any value addition. Since there is no value addition, there is no GST. So at every stage in the supply chain, at every stage in the transaction chain, only whatever value that has been added, on that value addition only GST will be there. If during the transaction chain, if no value addition is happening, then there will be no additional GST. Able to understand? 2 points. Number 1, tax is required to be borne by ultimate consumer. Number 2, tax is GST is what kind of tax? It is an value added tax. In between, I have one more characteristic also. Sorry, I forgot it here. So one more characteristic we have for GST. The third characteristics of the GST is it is a destination based tax. What is it? It is a destination based tax. Sir, what do you mean by this destination based tax? Let us try to understand it. See, taxation systems, we can divide them into two categories. One is origin based taxation and the other one is origin based taxation and the other one is destination based taxation. See, origin based transaction means, origin based taxation system means the revenue will go to that particular government wherever the transaction has originated. Let us say, for example, I will talk from the state's perspective. We have AP government. A person from Andhra Pradesh has supplied the goods to another person, whoever is located in Telangana. Okay. So where the transaction has started, what is the origin point? Where the transaction is commencing? The transaction is commencing in Andhra Pradesh because that is where the transaction is starting. Whereas what is the destination? Where the transaction is ending? The transaction is ending in Telangana state. So this is the destination. See, if I say that on this transaction, let us say for example, 1 lakh worth of transaction has taken place, on that tax amount is coming to 10,000. If I say this tax amount will go to the state of origin, since the transaction is originated in Andhra Pradesh, if I say this 10,000 rupees will be entitled to AP state government, that becomes a what? Origin based taxation. On the other hand, if I say this 10,000 rupees will go to Telangana state because that is where the destination of the transaction is there, then it will become a destination based tax. And what kind of taxation GST they are saying? GST is a destination based tax, not an origin based tax. That means revenue will always go to that respective government wherever the transaction is ending, wherever the transaction's destination is there, not wherever the transaction is getting originated. Clear everyone? So GST is a what kind of taxation system? Destination based taxation system, where revenue will go to that respective government wherever the transaction is ending, not wherever the transaction is originating. Clear? Very important principle. More we will talk about it. Its significance you will try to understand it in our subsequent subjects, subsequent topics actually. Clear? So 3 characteristics I have told. What are the 3 characteristics? Number 1, in GST the tax is required to be borne by ultimate consumer. Number 2, in GST is a value added tax. Number 3, GST is a destination based tax. And now we will come to the important aspect, which is in India we have what kind of GST system? We have a dual GST system. Sir, what is this dual GST model? See, when I say dual GST model, what is the federal structure in our country? So what is the federal structure is? At the central level, central government will take care of it. Central government will take care of it. So central government, we also call it as union government also we call it. On the other hand, at the state level, we have the state governments. At the state level, we have what? State governments we have. So state governments are going to take care of state level administration. So we have 2 levels of administration. Now there will be 2 kinds of taxation system. One is single taxation system. In these kind of taxation systems, what will happen is central government will collect all the taxes. After collecting the taxes, they will distribute it to the state governments. One kind of levy is what? Single taxation system. In single taxation system, what will happen? Central government will collect the entire amount of taxes and it will distribute the amount of taxes to the state governments. Or there might be a cases where only state government will collect the amount of taxes, thereafter transfer the share to central government. So like that, if power is given only to central government or only to state government, that we call it a single GST system. But in India, we have adopted something called a dual GST system, which means both the central government and the state government both can collectively come and levy the taxes on a single transaction. In India, we have such a dual GST model where if a supply has taken place on the same transaction, both the central government and the state government both can simultaneously come and impose the GST. Both can get their respective share. That means because of this dual GST system model, what will happen is state government need not be at the mercy of the central government. State governments need not wait for the central government to transfer their respective share. What state government power has been given, what kind of power has been given to state government? They have told, dear state government, whenever a transaction has taken place, central government will come and impose their respective GST component. You also go and impose your respective GST component. Both will impose simultaneously. Central government will get their share, state government will get their share. No one is required to be at the mercy of the other. You will have your own revenue sources. Clear everyone? So this is what the dual GST system which they have brought up in India. So in India we have dual GST model where both central government, state government both are going to simultaneously levy the taxes. Now I want to elaborate on this concept of dual GST model. See, for the purpose of deciding what kind of taxes will be imposed, we are going to divide the business transactions, or we are going to divide the supplies into two broad categories. We are going to divide supply into two broad categories. Number one, something we have called intrastate supply. We have something called intrastate supply, and then we have something called interstate supply. Very important discussion. This is also one such fundamental aspect which is going to have a strong foundation in the entire GST. So on the basis of nature of the transactions, we are going to divide the supplies into two categories. Number one is intrastate supplies and the other one is interstate supplies. Let us try to understand what is an intrastate supply, what is an interstate supply. Starting with intrastate supply. It has been defined as those supplies where the location of the supplier and the place of supply both are falling within same state or both are falling within same union territory. Then we call that supply as what? Intrastate supply. So what is that? Define it. When the location of the supplier and the place of supply, when they are within same state or they are within same union territory, then we are going to call them as intrastate supplies. Location of the supplier, which is pretty much straightforward. What is location of the supplier? Let us say, for example, I am a person located in Hyderabad. I have my place of business in Hyderabad. I got registered myself in Hyderabad. So my location of the supplier is going to be where? Hyderabad. Now place of supply, the place wherever you are supplying the goods. See, place of supply is a very bigger concept. We have a dedicated chapter talking about how to determine the place of supply. So I don't want you to go into the technical details for the time being now, but just understand that there will be something called place of supply. So don't go by the literal meaning, the place wherever supply is happening. Don't go by literal meaning. How to determine place of supply, we have a dedicated chapter talking about it. But for the time being now, I just want you to be familiar. There will be something called place of supply. So if the location of the supplier and if the place of supply, if both are falling within same state or if both are falling within same union territory, then we call that supply as intra-state supply. Now I want to talk a little bit on the India's geography. So what is that India's geography? I will tell you. See, in India we have how many states? Total 28 states we have. Along with that, we also have union territories. How many union territories we have? How many union territories we have? 8 union territories we have. So let us see here. So we have union territories. So what are the union territories? So 28 states are there. Apart from that, we have union territories. So what are that union territories? Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Lakshadweep we have, Dadra and Nagar Haveli, and Daman Diu. Previously, they used to be two different union territories. Now they have only combined it into single union territory. Thereafter, we have Ladakh. Then we have Chandigarh. Not just these five. Not just these five. Other territory, I will talk about it later. There is something called other territory, which I will come to that later. So we have these 5 union territories. Along with that, we also have other union territories like Delhi, Jammu Kashmir, Puducherry. Delhi, Jammu Kashmir and Puducherry. So totally 8 union territories we have. Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Lakshadweep, Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Daman Diu, Ladakh, Chandigarh. Along with that, Delhi, Jammu Kashmir, Puducherry. But why I have given that 3 separately is these Delhi, Jammu Kashmir and Puducherry are those kind of union territories which have their own legislature. Generally, union territories are those which are under central government administration, no? But these 3 union territories, which 3 union territories? Delhi, Jammu Kashmir and Puducherry, they have their own legislature, which means what? They have their own elections, they select their chief minister, and like other states, they will have their chief minister, they will rule that respective union territory. Like let us say for example Delhi, even though it is an union territory, in Delhi also elections will happen, Delhi also will have their own chief minister. So these 3 are union territories with a legislature. That means they have their own state legislature, they have their own CM. Now why I am saying this is, for the purpose of GST, when I say states, I am not just referring to that 28 states, even those 3 union territories with legislature. Even those 3 union territories with legislature. Which are those 3 union territories with legislature? Delhi, Jammu Kashmir and Puducherry. These will also be called as states only. So for the purpose of GST, when I say states, I am not just referring to 28 states, I am referring to total 31 states. Out of them, the 28 are normal states and the remaining 3 union territories with legislature, that we call it as also, that we also consider it as states for the purpose of GST. So under GST, whenever I say states, how many states I am referring to? 31 states. Clear? Apart from that, the remaining whatever we have, those are union territories. So when I say union territories, I am referring to only these union territories which are without legislature. That means they don't have their own chief minister or anything. This will all fall under central government administration. Central government will look after them. Okay, understood everyone? Right. So these are union territories. Now, why we are discussing about this geography of India? Why? Because we are required to understand something called location of the supplier. We are required to discuss something called intrastate supply. So what they are trying to say? When the location of the supplier and when the place of supply, if they are both falling in same state or if they are both falling in same union territory, then what will happen? Then what will happen is GST will, then it will fall under intrastate supply. And intrastate supply, whenever an activity has been classified as intrastate supply, then what kind of tax will be collected is CGST will be collected. Along with that, either that respective state's SGST or that respective union territory's UTGST will be collected. So whenever a supply has been classified as intrastate supply, what will be collected on the transaction? What will be levied on the transaction? There will be a CGST and equal amount of either SGST or UTGST will be levied. So let me give you a few examples for this. Let us say there is a supplier who is located in Andhra Pradesh. He also made the supply of goods to another recipient who is also in Andhra Pradesh. So both are, location of the supplier is also in Andhra Pradesh, place of supply is also in Andhra Pradesh. So this will qualify under intrastate supply. So because location of supplier, place of supply, both are falling within same state. Let us say 1 lakh worth of transaction has taken place. Applicable rate of GST is 9 plus 9, 18. So on this transaction, CGST at the rate of 9% will be collected, which will come to 9,000. Equal amount of SGST also will be collected, because here it is a state. Since it is a state, within the same state it is happening, SGST will be collected. Sir, which SGST will be collected? AP state government's GST will be collected, which is the SGST here at the rate of 9%. total 9,000 once again. So supplier is going to collect total 1 lakh, along with that 9,000 rupees of CGST, 9,000 rupees of SGST. Now that 9,000 rupees of CGST, whatever has been collected, that will be deposited with central government. Whatever this AP GST that has been collected, that will be deposited with AP state government. Clear? Then, so let me give you a few more examples. Let us, there is a supplier who is located in Tamil Nadu. He has also supplied the goods or services to another person who is located in Tamil Nadu. Location of the supplier, place of supply, both are falling within same state. Now here also, what will be imposed here? It will be an intrastate supply. What will be collected? CGST will be collected. Tamil Nadu GST also will be collected. So whatever CGST that has been collected, that will be deposited with central government. Whatever Tamil Nadu state government GST has been collected, that will be deposited with Tamil Nadu state government. Let us say there is a person, whoever is located in Delhi, supplier who is located in Delhi. He made the supply of goods to a recipient who is also located in Delhi. Intrastate supply or not? Yes, because both are falling within same state or union territory. State only, because Delhi also will be considered equal to the state. No, so this is also an intrastate supply. On this also, what will be collected? CGST will be collected. Delhi government's GST also will be collected. Okay, so this CGST will be deposited with central government. This will be deposited with the Delhi government. Clear? Now, one more example. Let us say there is a person who is located in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. He also made a supply of goods to another person who is also located in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Will it fall under intrastate supply? Yes, because location of the supplier, place of supply, both are falling within same union territory here. So here what will happen is, on this transaction, CGST will be collected and UTGST will be collected. What will be collected? UTGST will be collected. UTGST, only one kind of tax. For every union territory, separate union territory act will not be there. For all union territories put together, only one GST. What is that GST? UTGST. So whatever CGST that has been collected with, that will be deposited with central government. What about UTGST which has been collected? That will be deposited with whom? Once again, it will also go to the central government only. Why? Because union territory is also under administration of central government, no? So that amount also will go to central government only, but central government should use that money only for the purpose of that union territory, Andaman and Nicobar. Or let us say, for example, there is a supplier who is located in Ladakh. He has made the supply of goods to another person who is also in Ladakh. Is this an intrastate supply? Yes, location of the supplier and place of supply, both are falling in same union territory. Here what will be collected? CGST will be collected. Along with that, UTGST will be collected. All 5 union territories are under single administration. No. So that's why for all 5 union territories, there will be only one UTGST. But for states, every state, different state related GST will be there. Able to understand? Like if I tell you here, in AP we have collected AP GST. For Tamil Nadu, we have collected Tamil Nadu GST. But for all 5 union territories put together, we will collect only one single UTGST. So this CGST will go to central government. This UTGST will go to, once again, central government. But that money should be used by the central government only for the purpose of Ladakh territory. Understood? Clear and comfortable, everybody? Right. So this is what regarding intrastate supply. Now, what about interstate supply? So interstate supply means, see, there could be 2 different cases here. When the location of the supplier and the place of supply is falling in 2 different states. It is falling in 2 different states, or it is falling in 2 different union territories, or it is falling between one state and one union territory, or if it is falling between 2 countries. If it is falling between 2 countries, then also it will be considered as interstate supply. Okay, so the last aspect, the last point here is talking about imports and exports. Imports and exports, because in the case of imports and exports, it will be involving 2 different countries. Let us say I'm a person in India. I have received some goods from the supplier who is located outside India, from US. Location of the supplier is US. Place of supply is in India. both are in two different countries, this will also be considered as interstate supply. Or if I am exporting, I am a person, location of the supplier is in India, place of supply may be outside of India, but still that will also be considered as interstate supply. Okay, so last point, when I say location of supplier and place of supply are in two different countries, this I am referring to imports and exports. So the point which I want to clarify here is, for the purpose of GST, even imports and exports are also considered as what? Interstate supply. It will also be considered as interstate supply. But taxation, whether GST will be collected, if yes, what and all, we will go into that discussion later. For the time being now, I want you to only understand that international transactions like imports and exports will be treated as interstate supplies. Okay, but taxability we will talk about it later. Now we will talk about the taxability regarding these three. When the location of the supplier, place of supply falls in two different states, location of the supplier and place of supply falls in two different union territories, or location of the supplier and place of supply falls in one state and one union territory, that we call it as interstate supply. And the department says whenever a supply has been classified as interstate supply, we will collect a tax called IGST, which will be a cumulative amount equal to CGST plus SGST or UTGST put together. Whatever amount is there, that amount totally we collected in the form of IGST. And who will be entitled to receive this money? Department has told IGST will be collected, and this entire amount of IGST will be paid to central government. Which government? Central government. Once again, quick recap. In the case of interstate supply, only one kind of tax will be imposed. What is that? IGST, which will be a cumulative figure of CGST and SGST or UTGST put together. This entire amount will go to central government, but the department told, but the act says central government can't keep that entire revenue. Out of that IGST, whatever they have received, 50% only is required to be kept by central government. Balance 50% is required to be transferred to state governments. So this we will try to understand it with the help of example, how this will practically work it out. Let us say there is a person from Maharashtra, location of the supplier is Maharashtra. He made some supply of the goods to a person who is located in Gujarat. Let us say place of supply is Gujarat. So location of the supplier is Maharashtra, place of supply is Gujarat. Both are falling in two different states. So it will be classified as interstate supply. Let us say transaction amounting to 1 lakh rupees has taken place. So as I have told, what will happen here? IGST will be collected. So IGST at the rate of 18%, collective figure of CGST and SGST. So IGST at the rate of 18,000 will be imposed. Now this recipient will pay 1,18,000. Now what this supplier is supposed to do? He has to deposit that IGST with the government. With which government he will deposit? With the central government he will deposit that 18,000 rupees. Out of that, 50% will be retained by central government. The balance 50% is required to be transferred to state government. Which is state government? Which is state government? To the Maharashtra state government or Gujarat state government? Gujarat. Why? Because GST is a what kind of taxation? Destination based taxation. So the GST revenue should go to Gujarat. That balance 50%, the government will transfer it to Gujarat, not to the Maharashtra. Okay, right. One more example I will tell you. So we have seen what will happen when it is falling in two different states. We will see now what if the transaction is falling in two different union territories. As I have told, when I say union territories, I am referring to only 5 other than which don't have their own legislature. So let us say there is a person from Andaman and Nicobar Islands. He made the supply of goods to another person who is in Ladakh. Both are union territories. So will it be location of the supplier is Andaman and Nicobar's, place of supply is Ladakh. Is it an interstate supply? Yes. Let us say 1 lakh worth of transaction has taken place. On that, what will be collected? IGST at the amount of how much? 18,000. So now what the supplier will do? 18,000 rupees. He will go and deposit with central government. Now central government will keep 50%. The balance of 50%, what central government should do? This is what central government should do to the balance 50%. 9,000 they will keep. Balance 9,000 what they will do? They have to transfer it to Ladakh, but Ladakh is union territory, no? That is under central government's administration only, no? So this 9,000 also will be retained by central government only, but they have to use that 9,000 only for the union territory of which union territory? Andaman and Nicobar or Ladakh? Ladakh. Why? Because it is a destination based tax. Clear everybody? There will not be any transfer and all. That even balance 50% also will be kept by central government only, but they have to use it for the union territory of Ladakh. Understood? Next. One more example I will give you. Let us say there is a person, whoever is located in Gujarat, location of the supplier in Gujarat. He made supply of the goods to another person, whoever is in Delhi. Is it an interstate supply? Yes, because location of the supplier and place of supply both are falling in two different states. Delhi is also considered as state. So here also IGST will be collected. That IGST 50% central government will retain. Balance 50% will be given to Delhi government. Because Delhi is also considered as state government only. They have their own legislature. Now let me give you one more example. Supplier is in Gujarat. He made supply of goods to Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So location of the supplier is Gujarat, place of supply is Andaman and Nicobar, which is an union territory. So place of location of supplier and place of supply is falling in one state and one union territory. So will it be an interstate supply? Yes, it will be an interstate supply. So let us say 1 lakh worth of transaction, 18,000 rupees of GST. Now what will happen? 18,000 rupees will be sent to central government. Out of that 50% will be kept by central government. Balance 50% will be given to will be retained by central government only. Why? Because the recipient is a union territory, which is once again under central government administration, and it will be used for that union territory. What if the scenario is reverse? Location of supplier is Andaman and Nicobar Islands, place of supply is Gujarat. Then what will happen? 50% will be retained by the central government, 50% will be given to the Gujarat state government. Clear? Able to understand everybody? So this is what regarding interstate supply. Okay, so in order to determine which kind of tax will be imposed, first we have to divide the supply into any of the two categories. We have to determine whether it is an intrastate supply or is it an interstate supply. If it is classified as intrastate supply, what will be imposed? We will impose something called CGST, or and along with that either SGST or UTGST. Or if it is classified as interstate supply, we will impose one single GST called IGST. And one more point I want to bring it to here. See, we have various laws. For all that laws, we have a master law, which is Constitution. We have one primary law, which is Constitution, and every law is required to be within the limits of the Constitution. And Constitution says that no tax can be imposed except on authority of law. What Constitution says? No tax can be imposed except on authority of law. That means you should have some law under which you can collect any amount of tax. So now in case of GST, depending on the transactions, government is collecting different amounts of GST, no? For that also there should be some laws or not? Yes. So CGST will be collected under an act called CGST Act 2017, Central Goods and Services Tax Act 2017. This is central level, which is applicable for all across India, all over India it will become applicable. SGSTs will be collected under respective state GST acts. Like for example, as I have told, AP will have their AP GST Act. Tamil Nadu will have their Tamil Nadu GST Act. Karnataka will have their Karnataka GST Act. Maharashtra will have their Maharashtra GST Act, which will be a replica of CGST Act only. Right? Then, for all the 5 union territories put together, those 5 union territories without legislature, for all that 5 union territories put together, we have only one law. Which law? UTGST Act, Union Territory GST Act we have. So all that 5 union territories without legislature, for all of them we have only one UTGST Act, and IGST will be levied under IGST Act. So for every kind of tax, as per the Constitution, no tax can be imposed except on authority of law. To collect all these different kinds of taxes, different laws were framed. So CGST will be collected under CGST Act. Every state will have their respective state GST acts. For all the 5 union territories without legislature, we will have something called UTGST Act. And then finally, for imposing IGST, we have something called an IGST Act. Clear, everybody? And as a part of our subsequent discussions, we will be covering the provisions of these acts only. So we will be learning CGST Act and IGST Act. No need to learn about the state level GST acts. Why? Because state level GST acts are going to be exact replica of the central government related acts only. So as a part of our course, we are going to learn 2 acts. Which acts we are going to learn? CGST Act and IGST Act. Mainly, once again, CGST Act will be discussing. A few provisions of IGST Act only we will discuss. Okay, some special provisions of the IGST Act only we will discuss. Why? Because even in IGST Act also, most of the things are exact replica of the CGST Act only, but few extra provisions will be there in the IGST Act. That extra provisions we are going to learn. Understood? So this is what going to be the discussion for today. Today we'll wind up the session for here. Tomorrow we'll ratio. But it will be better if we could have a quick recap, no? What and all we have discussed just for a few minutes. So first we understood what is the meaning of the tax. Tax is something which is a non-voluntary payment, mandatory payment. And there will be 2 kinds of taxes: direct taxes and indirect taxes. Direct taxes are those where incidence or burden can't be passed on to another person, whereas indirect taxes, the burden can be passed on to another person. Then we understood what is the meaning of the GST. GST is a tax on supply of goods or services or both. So we understood that having just goods or services alone will not be enough. Even some transaction called supply should have taken place. More about supply we are going to discuss under the supply chapter. But not GST will be imposed on all supply of goods or services, depending on need of the art, depending upon needs of the society, depending on the public interest. Some goods and services are exempted, which we'll be covering in the exemptions chapter. Similarly, not every person will be made liable to comply with the GST Act. Only taxable persons will be made liable. But when a person will become taxable, all that we are going to cover it as a part of our registration chapter. Then thereafter, what else we have seen? So once we are done with that, then we have understood characteristics. What are the essential characteristics of the GST system? 4 main topics we have spoke about. In GST, the tax is required to be borne by final consumer. Whoever is ultimate consumer, he has to bear the heat of the taxes. And this will be made possible in the GST system with the help of a mechanism called input tax credit. That will make sure that the tax is borne by the final consumer. Then GST is a tax only on value addition. If there is value addition, then only there will be GST. If there is no value addition, there will be no GST. Third one, GST is a destination based tax where the revenues will always flow to those governments where the destination is there. And then I have also explained you, in India we have dual GST system where both central government and state government put together, both are collectively coming and imposing the GST. And there we have elaborated the discussion where we have divided the supplies into 2 categories: interstate and intrastate. Intrastate supply, location of the supplier, place of supply, both are falling within same state and union territory. Whereas interstate supply, if the location of the supplier and place of supply fall in 2 different states, fall in 2 different union territories, or 1 state and 1 union territory, or between 2 countries. So here most important point, even imports and exports are considered equivalent to interstate supply. That means on imports and exports, even what will come? IGST will be imposed. Clear? They will not go to central government's power and all. Ultimately, imports and exports will fall under central government power to impose the IGST. And in case of interstate supplies, IGST will be imposed, and how the apportionment of the revenue and all will happen. So that's what I have explained you today. So almost we are done with 60 to 70% of the introduction chapter. So tomorrow we have some pending discussion will be left out from the introduction chapter, that we will try to do it. But once again I am telling, from the introduction to GST topic there will be no questions tested, but all these are ground solid foundational concepts. If you have strong clarity or background regarding these topics, then only later we can build the advanced concepts out of it, or else there will be always something which is missing. Dots we will not be able to connect if you are not strong with the basics. If you are strong with these basics, no, any provision we can understand it. We'll get to know the logic. Okay, this is why the provision has been given. When you get that logic, no, answering the questions becomes very easier. Answering the logic in the exam becomes very easier. That's why we are spending this time. Even it has been given in your study material also. Introduction chapter will be there in the study material also, but as a annexure to the supply chapter. Dedicated chapter introduction to GST you will not be able to find it in the study material. But if you open the supply chapter, in the supply chapter at the end you will be able to find something called an annexure. There they spoke about all this discussion, whatever we are discussing in the introduction to audit. So this is not something I'm teaching you from the CA inter level or something. This is something which has been given even in our CA final material. That's why I'm teaching it to you. Okay, right. So that's all for now, my dear students. But before leaving you, one confirmation: are you all comfortable with the today's discussion? Language is okay, the flow is okay, pace is okay, speed manageable, or is it over speedy or something? Generally it will not be. Sometimes even if you might feel little bit slow also, I will not rush through the things. I will make sure that concept is very clear. So we'll take the pauses, we'll slow down the discussion wherever required, wherever advanced concepts comes, even we will slow it down more examples also I will give you. Okay, so if you are comfortable with the today's session, I will make sure till the last class the same level of comfort will be given to you. But only thing is, you have to come to the classes without fail. You have to participate in the classes. You have to remain attentive and focused in the classes. Okay, that's all from my side for today. See you in the tomorrow session. Bye. Same timings tomorrow, 7:30. Please be here by 7:30. We'll start our discussion.